We weren't gone for long because we are so excited. Welcome back or welcome to the stream. I am your play-by-play host, username underscore Intel, here joined by Mr. Dividing by Zero, and we are here to cast Team Rolled versus Useless of the Advanced Division EU. How are you doing, Mr. Dividing?
I am doing quite well. I am excited to see the top two teams from the expert division go head to head today. The absolute highest end of SR wise of Overwatch that Elo Hell offers. And we have Team Roll, the number 1 seed going into the playoffs, going into Useless, the number 3 seed. So I think we've got ourselves a real good match coming up here. As we take a quick look at the bracket, we see Team Roll, the number 1 seed, going into this one. But as you see, their perfect record came to an end a bit earlier, a couple weeks ago, as they lost 3-1 to the Shanghai Wagons. They fought their way through the losers bracket to get to this point. Meanwhile, Useless have been on a roll. They were 6-2 in the regular season, but as you can see, 3-0 versus X610s, 3-0 versus Altura Ascension, 3-0 versus Shanghai Wagons. They have yet to lose a map in the playoffs yet, Intel.
Oh, that's kind of scary. You see a team running in like that, and you just have to sit there and wonder, what kind of momentum are they have? What are they doing? What are their scrims like? Do they scrim 5 times an hour? I don't know. But either way, this is going to be either a clean roll or a defensive uprising. Both of these teams have a chance to bring home the victory, and I'm pretty sure they both want it.
Oh, they absolutely both won it. Both teams are coming into this one fired up, but I would agree with you when I say one of the scariest things to try and deal with when it comes to Overwatch is a team on a hot streak, and that is what Useless is right now. I don't think their name is very much indicative of their play right now, as they have been honestly just completely unstoppable so far. But we are going to get into the game in just a second. Starting off on Lijiang Tower, always love to see it.
The traditional map that most control players like to do. This is often favored for teams who run the standard brawl or a variation with the Symmetra. Symmetra is obviously going to be picked more often than not, but this gives open to a lot of brawl, a lot of high tempo compositions, and that could set the pace for the rest of the game.
Yeah, always love Lijiang Tower just because of how many different comps and how many different strategies are available through these 3 maps. It has a little bit of something for everybody. If you like brawl, control center, the corners, the low ceilings, you get to see a lot of it there. If you like flying characters or snipers, you can maybe see them on Night Market or maybe even on Gardens, where things are a lot more open. If you like Lucio Boops, that is also available to you. So I think, I have no idea what to expect going into this map. Teams could run a whole variety of different things. I'm really excited to see it.
Both of these teams, they look to be ready. They are both, I want to say, heavily brawl-centric teams. Looking at kind of how they set up, I do believe I've casted one of them, and I believe it was... No, I don't. I don't remember anything. I was just going off on a tangent. Either way, I'm very excited to get started. I thought I remembered one of them. Just one of the players looks familiar. Maybe I've seen him before. Who knows?
All right, as we're heading in, we're going to be starting off on Night Market here, which is probably the most open map when it comes to the meta. Obviously, when it comes to around the point, there is a lot of open space that could give way to flying characters, snipers, dive comps, but the point itself is underneath kind of the big building, which means we got ourselves a lot of potential for Symmetra comps and Brawl comps to have a lot of success. Both teams currently sort of eyeing up some different... Sorry, what?
They're memeing on us.
Yeah, they're memeing on us a little bit. I'd be very surprised to see a Torbjorn Bastion comp come out in the grand finals of a tournament. And yes, like I thought, Team World is going to be swapping off of it.
Yeah, but Useless isn't.
Yeah, Useless is going to be going with a Pharah Tracer comp with the with the Sigma Wrecking Ball. So Full Disruption is the name of the game here for Useless. Meanwhile, Team Rolled are going a little more traditional here with the Symmetra TP on point.
We see CBT fan able to find out North. That's a massive pick. I mean, sure, they're going to be able to place the teleporter back, but North doesn't even want to risk it. Goes immediately onto the Tracer, and CBT is able to just go inside the backline of Team Rolled, start taking those angles, start breaking down their bunker composition in a sense, and they take control of the point first.
Look at Team Rolled's composition. You've got Yuki has swapped, but you had a Doomfist there and a Tracer, neither of which are going to be super great at taking down a Pharah high in the air. You usually have a D.Va trying to take up some attention, but no, they were on Ryan Winston. So Useless were pretty much able to control the skies with literally no punishment at all. So Useless is going to take first point control, and they have several ultimates coming up, but Uberheld is down before he manages to get his mines up.
It's a bit unfortunate, because those mines could have been massive at displacing the enemy team. It looks like Team Roll's just going to take control over the point. FBT is able to find out North, but there's not much else to that kill other than the fact that it's kind of just a distraction. It's allowing his team to back up, and it allows Uber to re-engage back into the fight. We do see the hack come. No, not the hack. We do see CBT has the barrage coming up. They can pop it out. The mines get used, forces them back. Now they're playing at sight angles. Look how uncomfortable they look. Combo's going to be using the Valk to engage just to give them some room to pop in. We see Esser setting up, but the barrage comes out before the hack can commence. The sound barrier does manage to save the people who are on the point, while North uses the pulse bomb, immediately gets eaten by Storm. The Coalescence comes out from Cobra, just trying to make a difference and help with their timing. Right now it's somewhat even. Ice does manage to get CBT, but it doesn't really matter in the end because you're just down. And we see the combo coming out of Quan as they continue trying to stall in this fight. They really don't want to give up a time bank, but the focus fire from Team Useless, gotta say, it's on fire.
Yeah, critically in that fight, Team Rolled actually managed to come in with the early pick onto Uberheld and just the superior engagement tactics of their comp, and actually flip the point around. Because of that, I mean, Useless was never fully out of the fight, but if they hadn't done that, we could be looking at 90+% for Useless right now. As it is, it's about 50% for both teams, and Yuki's coming in with the EMP.
Look at them getting ready, setting it up, managing to find Storm with the boot. CBT evening it up by finding Cobra. The rally is going to help Tom be able to start pushing in and help out with the team a bit more, but the rally's already gone. There's not much more to it. We see Quan does have the pulse bomb, could make something happen. They are able to find out Tom while CBT still high in the sky. It does manage to get the hack. Yukon almost going down, but is able to escape. Ice managing to finish off Quan, but we see the combo being able to save Tom. CBT still alive, and they are hating it. Look at them trying to focus down the Pharah in the air because the Pharah is getting so much value. They save enough time for Storm to come back, uses the Gravitic Flux, and now it's making room. North goes down. The Sombra is really the only person left onto the point, already halfway up to an EMP, so they use the mines. They force them out, and we're going to be waiting for another fight, but this is last second. The Sombra has to be the one to touch, but CBT's returning back to the fight with the barrage. It's all up for Yukon to build up that EMP to have some form of insurance for this fight, because North is the last one. The barrage comes out, managing to find out Tactical, but Cobra's able to get CBT with the Coalescence. Now they're trying to put pressure. The EMP comes out, but it doesn't really find much, but it forces them off the point. Looks like Team Rolled does have another opportunity, but they're going to need to bring something in to beat Team Useless's hold.
Yeah, all they need now is one fight. Team Rolled does, but Useless finally has firm control of the point, and with that on their side, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Team Rolled to be able to push into it. CBT fan can sort of poke in with the rockets without any kill confirms. It's going to be difficult, but you know what? The pulse bomb from North, that's a very good opening.
And I agree. Look at that. They're able to put in so much damage. Even CBT has to just back up, go pick up the Mercy, and Ice manages to build up the mines. That's absolutely critical when it comes to this next fight.
Yeah, and now we're in last fight territory. Useless has to try and break through this hold on the point that Team Rolled has right now. They're going to use the beat to engage, and oh man, Useless is pushing up so far.
Yeah, but the back cap is allowing Team Roll to take control. They may be at a disadvantage. They don't have as many people. Ice uses the mines, forces them back. Tactical's looking to pull a Fissure and Primal the Pharah out of the sky, but Yukon's just gonna say no. We already capped the point. Let's just go to the next map.
Yeah, I mean, what a beautiful hold there from Useless. They were able to effectively split up Team Rolled as they tried to move on to the point. They were able to batter 3 of them back down to the point, while the other 3, yes, they got the back cap, but they were at a giant disadvantage because Useless had already killed the rest of their friends. So, now we move on to Control Center, and as expected, both teams are going to be swapping back onto Rhine comps. We're very interested to see if Yuki stays on this Sombra, though. I don't see Sombra too much in this match just because it's not quite as good straight on, and we're going to see switch to the McCree, which is a lot more expected here. We are, however, seeing a McCree versus Junkrat matchup for Useless and Team Rolled, respectively.
Hey, it can be varied, but I can respect if it works. Uber Shield already going down dangerously low. Storm already using to eat. We see the charge coming from Tactical, but that's just going to go into the enemy spawn. CBT is going to be able to end that out. They're moving in north, looking to melt people down. The tracking of the lore is being able to find out Storm, but Yukon's not going to be able to survive. Uber Shield ending up finishing them off, and this is the issue with running a Kree against that Junkrat when you run into the server rooms. They just have so much raw DPS, you're just going to be bursted down. So Yukon decides to go Doomfist. Maybe if I can't beat them in damage, I'll just beat them in kills.
Yeah, Quan does a great job just breaking down the shields, and the HP of Useless makes it so difficult for them to just exist. But yeah, now Yuki on the Doomfist. High risk, high reward here. If he can get a quick pick, that could be a lot.
Yep, we see them moving in. CBT managing to find out north, but Hypothesis is able to find Uber and CBT. It looks like Team Rolled, they are having to move back. They weren't prepared against the Doomfist from what we saw. I'm guessing they were expecting that creep.
They were probably still expecting the creep, but I think it was more just the aggressive engage coming out from Useless. They weren't quite ready and bunched up for the speed boost. Just rush down comp, and we're able to get 2 quick picks based off of that before anything happened. Now, Team Rolled, it's back on them, and they have the Riptire coming, and Quan's looking to get it. No, Cobra will shoot it down.
Quan dodges the initial fire strike, but still gets caught out. That's unfortunate. We see North, both of them placing down their walls to be able to block out the majority of the damage. They do get booped up in the air, and North is looking to melt down the people behind them. The Shatter is able to start hitting Storm, and everyone else is dangerously low. We're going to be seeing Useless just immediately start walking in on them, while Team Rolled is just trying to peel out. Cobra, though, is looking for those kills. He doesn't need to heal his team if everyone else is dead.
Yeah, the bloodthirsty support challenge. Cobra is playing it to perfection right now. Useless has now crossed 50% of the point, and Team Rolled honestly used so many ultimates there to try and take it back. They couldn't do it. However, now they will have the Gravitic Flux as well as the Beat to help them engage.
Oh, look at them getting ready. We're going to see them preparing in. As they get set up, the charge coming out from Tactical North being able to help finish people off. Useless not scared to just kind of overcommit themselves into the push, especially with Yukon's Doomfist. They have nothing to worry about. So now we're in an 80% charge, and Team Rolled has to try to push in.
Absolutely. It's now last fight territory for Team Rolled. They have to get something done and do it fast, but Yuki on this Doomfist is trying to say otherwise.
Look at them pushing in. They're able to place down the sentry. The window and sound barrier tries to help out, but Storm gets melted down. Yukino is looking for that punch, going to be able to move that Reinhardt outside of the immortality, but it's only so much they can do. Team Useless is hoping to push in. The Lucio's the last one touching the point, but there's going to be a frog battle. She's going to give up so they can hurry up and give Useless the team fight winning map of Lijiang Tower.
What beautiful brawl play from Useless. When it comes to the brawl v brawl sort of mirror matchups, it does tend to be the team that sets the tempo wins more often than not, and Useless did a great job of being able to engage on Team Rolled before Team Rolled could really set up what they wanted to set up. And with that, after a very close night market, we're going to be seeing honestly a very convincing control center for Useless, moving up 2 1-0 in the map, 1-0 in the series, keeping their perfect streak alive.
They're looking cream. Oh, not cream. They're looking clean, if I do say so. They have been performing fairly well, but Team Rolled, they're not doing too bad. They're looking like they're struggling just a tiny bit, but they are looking to take those fights.
They are, in fact, looking to take those fights, and both teams came out with some very interesting and unique strategies here on Lijiang Tower. I think tells me that we're in for a very interesting total amounts of a very interesting match as it continues to move on.
I definitely see. Our next map is going to be from the loser's side. So that means they can pick something a bit more familiar. Team Rolled often does like that Junkertown. That seems to be their favorite map. So maybe we have an opportunity for sniper duels. I think that's what everyone loves to see in Overwatch. We like to see those DPS styling, the 180 flicks, the Kree combos, everything.
Yeah, I'd love to see some Junkertown today, but it looks like we're not going to get it just yet, I believe. As yes, it is in fact going to be King's Row for Team Rolled, which I think is pretty bold of them, considering how Lijiang Control Center went for them.
I definitely agree that they're now kind of having to go against a brawl. Maybe they feel confident in trying out in a traditional brawl. Maybe they feel like they can beat Useless in it. But Useless, even while running variants, they seem comfortable and flexing around. I can see them running just standard brawl, but instead of a Mei, maybe a Doomfist. Instead of a Kree, maybe a Symmetra, something else. They seem to be alright with it. So Team Rogue just needs to kind of keep their hopes up. I feel like they definitely have room to push in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think when it comes to a hybrid map in comparison to a control center map, control map, control tends to devolve a little more into be a lot more scrappy, a lot more individually focused. The team that tends to have better individual plays wins. However, now that we're moving on to hybrid, we get to see a little bit more of that team play, a bit more of how teams work together and formulate strategies. They have more time to talk and think about what they're going to do before they do it. And because of that, we might be seeing here why, in fact, Team Rolled were undefeated going into this playoffs bracket.
We're going to be seeing them prepared. The often composition we see when it comes to King's Row has a Mei solely because I think we can both agree this is one of the narrowest maps in the game. Besides from third point, everything is often played by rotation, so we're just going to have to see if they end up choosing, the Devil's Fruit.
You will see as, of course, Team Roll's going to be starting on the attack. I'll be very interested to see if Quan is going to stick on this Doomfist. Again, I think Doomfist is a viable option if you get a lot of value out of his punches, his seismic slams, a lot of disruption coming out there, but definitely not as consistent as, say, as McCree. Useless, though, is going to be coming out with a Symmetra, which I find very interesting, especially on the defense. I love seeing Symmetra strats. I think you could do a lot with her teleporter, just going between high ground and low ground, however you choose.
I definitely agree. Can sometimes be pretty interesting, but they're going to have to kind of play around it. Useless's Symmetra is going to allow them to kind of take angles in space, so Ice has more room to play the Sigma.
And now we see it looks like Quan is going to be sticking on this Doomfist, going to be going in very aggressively.
Doesn't give them room to rotate around, just immediately shuts down Yukino, and now they're just continuously pushing in. Team Rolled, they just know that with this Doomfist, they're high momentum. They just bubble that Doomfist, never gonna be dying. While Ice is just looking to take those angles, we do see North placing the teleporter on the high ground, gonna be dropping down. That Mei wall isn't gonna be able to block anyone off, but Hypothesis is gonna be picked off. Ice is just a no sustain compared to this. Tactical does manage to get Uber and invest the Shatter, but it gets blocked by the Zarya bubble, and that's just how to get styled on accidentally.
Yeah, beautiful high tempo play from Quan coming out on the Doomfist, taking out Yuki early, and that is going to prompt a couple of swaps coming out from Useless. Ice is going to move back onto the not the Tracer, the Diva now, trying to maybe try and maybe be able to peel for his supports and his tanks a little bit better. But Team Roll now have the momentum. They will have the Ant Matrix from Tom, and they're using it already.
More importantly, they use that window. Quan is going to be able to punch Tactical to death while, able to find out Tom. So there's no healing on one side, no less healing on one side, no tank on one side. We do see Ice is going down dangerously low. Storm gets stuck by the wall. They were trying to walk away, but they couldn't see where they were going. So they just end up having to give it off. The Shatter does come out from Uber, and they managed to find 2-3 off of it. That fight was going to be ending, but now with this, they have hope. The Baptiste is going to return. Uber's going to get the mega health back. That gives them room to walk in. Uber is, honestly, I'd have to say, Uber-brained, I guess. Just moving in. Tactical having to retreat. Just give them time. Yuko does have the high noon. May be able to give themselves an advantage for the next fight.
That was a gutsy play from Uber. Knowing that his team was down in numbers, saw the opportunity for the Shatter and took it. And with that, now Useless is trying to stop Team Roll from taking Texan Point already.
Oh, he's able to stun Quan out of his punch as well as Uberhead, but it doesn't look like that's going to be much. Yuko is struggling to hit the shot onto the Doomfist. That's going to end up costing their life, while everyone else on the side of Team Roll is just continuously pushing this cart, similar to what we saw in the last game we casted. It's going to be less than 6 minutes, but less than 5:30 at most.
5 minutes and 30 seconds for Team Roll. A blazing fast time up to this point. However, not really many ultimates to work with right now. They're probably going to have to do a dry fight or two because uses are coming up on several ults. Tactical's Shatter, Ice's beat, Apotheosis is beat, Ice's bomb, Apotheosis is beat. Sorry.
We see CBT making a statement by finding out Cobra. That Diva Bomb goes out, but Storm is able to get some Valve 3K!
What?
The 3K remet from Ice! Cold like my wrist! What is going on?
Are you kidding me, Ice? Oh man, I've seen the clips, but I've never casted over a 3K remake like that. Oh my gosh, I would be popping off so hard if I was that Diva. Now, interestingly, North has swapped to the Echo a little bit ago because he noticed that with the Mei Doomfist, Team Roll really didn't have much to deal with a flying DPS, so now CBT gets onto the Widow and finds effect instantly.
With them pushing in, CBT is on the Widow, just looking to pick people off. They have the sightline. Bit of a weird switch, but hey, it happens. We see them looking for Ice, who's just flying around saying, haha, I killed you before, you're not gonna touch me. CBT taking some dangerous angles as Quan goes in for the punch, able to find out Tactical. The copy does go on to the Baptiste, so that's not gonna be able to help much, besides from a double immortality. Uber is able to walk in, manage to find out Cobra, while Yuno is able to find out the Lucio. They're continuously moving in. Ice now dangerously in corner, end up caught out by Uber. They have no one to stall. Yuko's gonna get headshotted by CBT, but the Stickies are gonna be able to end them off. North does get caught out by the Doomfist. Ground in air. Pokemon reverse as we see them looking out with that punch going in. Gonna be able to push out Tactical a tiny bit farther. Graviton Surge making sure that they cannot touch the point, but there's someone still there. They managed. Cobra is gone. The Lucio dangerously is allowed to live, while Tactical able to find out Uberhead and return back to the fight. That Doomfist now dangerously low, while Tactical has no healing. They use the sound barrier to hopefully make something happen, while North is back onto the bash. And just to be able to get some major damage and force them to split their attention. Playing inside the immortality, that's going to give them some room while the Doomfist returns, but he's not going to be able to beat out that Bastion, and it looks like Useless are going to be able to hold this point for a tiny bit longer.
What a beautiful stagger play from Ice, going on to the Wrecking Ball and spinning to winning, not dying, and North swapping onto a Pocket Bastion there. A very nice swap. And very effective, too. Team Roll just weren't able to coordinate a dive on that Bastion fast enough before they were all dead. Now Ice goes on to the Orisa, trying to be a lot sturdier, and I guess stay with the Bastion. North is staying on it.
Oh, unfortunate that they get caught out before they can even set up. They throw the immortality, so North gets to sit there for a bit longer. Ends up finding Quan the Doomfist. That's the one thing they really had to worry about. Uber does have the Shatter and is looking to use it. Wow, we see the Hanzo on top of the high ground looking for those picks. At the post is able to find out Uberhead, but Thomas there peeling them in. CBT is looking to make his play, able to find out 3. Now the ball's the last one alive. They're going to be able to melt it down with a bit of time. No one left, so Team Roll is going to be able to capture with 2 minutes and 14 seconds.
That was at least 4 kills there for CBT fan, if not 5. So, beautiful play there at the end from Useless, finishing the map with over 2 minutes left on the clock, and Now this is kind of what I mean when I say the difference between control and hybrid is that you get to see a little bit more cerebral play come out from these teams, and that is where Team Rolled seems to excel a little bit more. The pocket bastion strats coming out from Team Useless were definitely interesting to say the least, but after just one fight of getting wrecked by it, Team Rolled came at it a lot better the next time around, and we're able to get rid of that strategy. So now it is back onto Team Useless to try and match the point and map completion.
Honestly, I would say Useless's big issue was just that they weren't adapting against Team Roll's momentum. Quan was just able to get those free punches, and they weren't able to do much. It's either you either countercharge it and get the stun, and then you get focused down, or you just get punched, and you aren't able to heal through it. So we have to see how Team Useless adapts around that.
Absolutely here. I'll be interested. I don't think Useless is going to stay on Hanzo Widow for very long. Yeah, they were just using it to try and scout. They're going to go with the much more close-range combo of McCree, Reaper. Team Rolled, sticking on the Doomfist Mei. Again, I mean, lots of utility, but if Quan is getting caught out on the Doomfist, it could be bad very fast.
I don't think they're really scared of anything. I think they are confident in their Doomfist player. Over that stun's gonna come out. The Doomfist able to go in. The Immortality's gonna be able to save them out. Uberhead gonna go down while Yukino is gonna be traded in the end. We see Quan throw out that punch inside the enemy's backline. That's very dangerous. Might be picked out, just barely survives. Managed to get the shielding, but Cobra says not today. We see North now pushing in. They don't have a Reinhardt, so they're doing a lot of damage with North just being there. Tactical ends up getting traded, and Ice loses their mech. That's not good. We're going to be seeing the return of Uberhead in quite a second, so now they just have to retreat. At least they build ult charge from that fight, but otherwise they're kind of stuck, and Ice is inside the backline. Now 1v1ing, manages to lose to Tom, had the remake, but didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, I mean, Team Rolled doing a great job right now of dealing with this sort of very up-close comp that Useless is trying to run right now. They really want to just get in your face and deal as much damage as possible. But CBT on the Mei doing a fantastic job of trying to slow them down. Now, Tom, coming up into this with the Ant Matrix. Cobra is not quite there yet, will be soon, but being able to use the Ant Matrix first could be a big advantage here.
Definitely agree. We see Quan looking around, just trying to find someone to punch, but Yukino is on the high noon. Manages to slow them down, but not going to find much. They have to use the Immortality just so Cobra can rotate. Now they have their own window just to kind of trade up. They're going to be popping it in while Storm looks for the Graviton Surge. Managing to pop it out. The Shatter gets used. It doesn't find anyone, but it doesn't really need to find anyone. They're just going to hit W. They had so much raw damage in front of the window that it just overcame everything.
Yeah, Useless did a beautiful job of kiting out of the way of that Ant Matrix and then coming back into themselves with a vengeance. Got rid of Team Rolled before they could really use any other ultimates, which is a good thing, because Team Rolled has just about every other ultimate in the game other than the Ant Matrix available to them at this moment. Useless, though, as they are going to try and push through this choke point, does have the Death Blossom, the Bomb, and the Beat to work with. Team Rolled, like I said, everything except the Ant Matrix, and honestly, Tom is building up that Ant Matrix extremely quickly, already 75% of the way to another one.
Look at them set up. The Graviton Surge gets used really early in the fight. The Sound Barrier and Immortality is going to be saving them a tiny bit, but CBT uses the Blizzard. It's going to be going through all their abilities. North pops the Death Blossom, able to find out Tom, while we see Quan just going inside the backline, being able to hit some stuns, but it's just barely going to survive. However, Combo gets hit by the Diva Bomb, was inside the building, I think, or something. I don't know. Either way, Uses are going to be able to start moving in, manages to get Storm while he had that charge. Now they only have support ults to take in this next fight.
Team Rolled used 4 ultimates in that fight, and honestly didn't get that much value out of them. And they were really big ultimates too, the Blizzard, the Grab, the Shatter, but none of them really found much, and Useless now continue to push forward. They will have the McCree High Noon here, trying to deny space, as well as the Ant Matrix, which can do a lot of the same.
And we're seeing them move in. Look at that High Noon come out, manages to find out Storm. That's the one person you don't want to go down. because they're going to be enabling your Doomfist. A Shatter gets committed, but they don't peek. Quan's just waiting for his time to get back his healing. Now he has the room to start going in. Look at that, immediately slamming with the stun's going to be able to finish him out. Now they're continuously pushing in as Tactical is just looking to put pressure onto the Reinhardt shield. CBT pushes over to the Widow. I don't know what kind of counter that's going to make, but Ice finishes off Uberhead, and now they're going to be able to capture the point. They have less than 4 minutes to try to push this out, and I think CBT's pick is weird, but I can definitely see it working.
Yeah, especially because I think he knows that the Reaper is up there by himself, so trying to get the pick off here. I mean, honestly, you don't have a ton of contest if you're a Widow in the situation sitting on this back high ground. I guess the Reaper could teleport in front of your face if you want to. But yeah, Team Rolled have some very unorthodox DPS picks, and it does not seem to be going super well for CBT fan as Ice chases them down.
Look at that, but Uberhead's continuously able to move in. We see the Doomfist slam. It's not going to be able to catch a Reaper, but it does catch Ice's mech, so they're just going to let Ice walk away. Looks like they want to try to remech, but it's just not going to be possible.
Yeah, I am a little bit concerned still about the DPS picks of Team Rolled, but they're committing to it. They're going to try and make it work as the High Noon from Yuki comes out. And North takes out CBT fan again, so 5v6 in favor of Useless. They could finish with more time here if they manage to finish the map right now.
100% possible. Look at that. They're putting pressure onto Uberhead as the sound barrier gets committed. Same with the Diva Bomb. They break that Reinhardt. They manage to get a 2K with it. Exactly how you want it. Now the Graviton Surge is looking to finish them off. That Immortality is there, just barely going to be able to save that. Zarya is dangerously though. No one able to touch. Just barely. They have to force the Baptiste and the Widow to do something, but the Death Blossom's there for the cleanup. The Shatter managing to climb on top of the cart. We see Quan trying to touch back, but there's not much they can do, and they're able to capture with only 31 seconds more than a time bank. My goodness, Useless somehow able to bring it back. What looked to be almost kind of a worrying fight.
Useless have brought themselves back into this game here. The perfect playoffs record still very much possible right now, but to do that, they are going to have to stop Team Rolled in their extra innings attack. Both teams have about 2 minutes. Useless has about a 30-second advantage, which honestly could be huge. 30 seconds, I mean, that's just about an extra fight that Team Useless is going to have here. So, but, you know, if Team Rolled can get themselves a really good attack, then it won't matter in the slightest, as Quan goes back onto the Doomfist. They really want to make this work. This Doomfist-Zarya combo, bubbling the Doom as he goes in, has definitely given them a lot of value here. But I do wonder if they would have more success if they just went on to the dreaded Mei.
Hey, nobody wants to play that Ice Demon, I gotta say, but they're preparing.
I don't blame them.
Honestly, yeah, Mei can be a bit unfun at times, especially when you just run it for so long. But now, this is where we see, can Team Rolled capture all 3 points or even a tick, or will Useless set themselves a favorable condition?
We will see, as it is going to come out with the biggest major difference is going to be Quan on the Doomfist versus North on the Reaper. Which one of them is going to be able to take advantage and help their team get a kill first?
I don't know. Quan already out with the rollout. It's going to barely just miss. Tactical able to find out Uberhead. Without that Reinhardt and no initial pick, you have to wait. But we do see Quan. No, he's found out. They now know where he is, and they're going to be able to send him back to the spawn room. That's kind of unfortunate. If he had just stayed a bit more quieter, they could have waited and had some form of advantage.
Quan used pretty much all of his cooldowns to try and get in and get behind, and that caused the Reaper to come in for Useless. But now, oh my gosh, a pick comes through for Team Rolled, and all of a sudden they surge forward onto the point.
They have nothing to sweat about. They're just continuously finding value with this Doomfist by enabling the punch. But it looks like they don't want to give it up. They have the High Noon slowly moving in. This Doomfist better not punch. But the Ryan gets stunned out of Sandy. So they're able to find Yukino, especially with that window. As we see the rest of Useless just trying to push in. But they're going to be going back to the spawn room. Team Rolled able to cap. But now they're going to be stuck on that payload until that 50 seconds is over.
Yeah, 50 seconds, 45 now left on the clock for Team Rolled. They're trying to push up and buy as much space as possible. as now it all comes down to how long can they go before Useless manages to force them off. Team Rolled, they will have the high noon to work with. CBT fans going to be trying to zone them off at the point for a little while. Uber Held will also have the Shatter available, and if we go a little bit further into this fight, Quan and Combo will probably be having their ultimates online as well. Useless, though, do have the Amplification Matrix advantage, so Cobra will be looking to use that early.
You don't really have to win a team fight as much as you just need to push the payload, because now they're going to be rotating behind them. We see as they set up, but they were ready for it. They just knew they were coming. We see the punch come out. Quan just dangerously, but the Shatter manages to miss. The Fire Strike manages to find out Tom. Oh no! And the Shatter! They weren't ready for it. The slam does go down. Quan hoping to make something happen. Storm able to find out Tactical and the Sound Barrier is going to be able to heal them out, but they're looking for the peel. The Dimension Matrix able to save them out with the Death Blossom finishing. Same with the Sound Barrier. And now, Useless have such a good win condition. Team Rolled might be able to end their, I guess you could say, golden playoff.
Yeah, Rolled have honestly put themselves in a pretty decent position here. I will say, the fact that they weren't able to push all the way to the end of Point B is a little bit concerning, because now if we get to a point where, you know, people are trying to stagger onto the point at the very end, the golden box of victory is just a few meters away, the spawn advantage is a bit more in the attacker's favor instead of the defenders, which is what it would have been if they hadn't made it to the end. But thanks to a beautiful rotation play coming out from Useless, team, yeah, it was Useless, that will not happen. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, they'll be way more set up, especially because I feel like at this point, Useless has very much shown that they're adapting to Quan.
Yeah, Quan did not get quite as much value out of that Doomfist as he had in the past. Useless were quite able to deal with when you went in using the cooldowns necessary to make sure he couldn't confirm a kill. And now, but, you know, they have gone this far with the Doomfist Team Rolled has, so they're going to see it through to the end. Meanwhile, Useless will stay on this Reaper, just try and burst him down before he can do anything. Can Useless get to match point in the first two maps, or will Team Rolled tie it up going into halftime? It all comes down to this attack from Useless. They're going around the statue. Let's see how it goes.
Look at them setting up. They're preparing to make this fight the last one. Already setting up. We see Team Rolled taking the corner. They don't want to take up a straightforward fight. They're waiting for Quan to get the pick, but Yukino is already prepared for it and is able to flash and then shut them down. The Fire Strike goes in. It's going to be able to get a good amount of people. The ult charge on Tactical is going to be the first ultimate if they keep playing this aggressive. We see Cobra able to get the 2 ticks. Team Rolled are waiting for their teammates, but now they're forced to touch because they don't want to give up all 3. We see Tactical going down low, but the Doomfist is now going to be coming back into the fight. Pithos is able to find out Uberhead, and that's just unlucky. Same with Quan, immediately going down. Yukino able to find out Combo, and they just needed time to adapt because now they're going to be able to cap all 3 points and have room to stagger and push that payload very far.
A minute and 30 seconds left on the clock, and this pin on the Storm, the stagger on this D.Va is absolutely massive, because now Team Rolled is not going to be able to put together a full fight before Useless is already past this choke point and already in a final fight scenario. They'll have a minute on the clock here, which means they could potentially get a second fight on here if they wanted to. Useless will have the Shatter, they will have the High Noon, they will have the Ant Matrix, which already comes out. Team Rolled brings an Ant Matrix of their own to the party.
They're both looking to get some type of value off of it, but we see Tactical moving in with the High Noon. He's looking to find someone, but they just rotate all around. But he fights Doomfist. Quad wasn't ready. I don't think they saw him, and that's going to give Useless the advantage. They're going to continue pushing the payload, and nobody's able to touch as Useless get match point. Their golden stage not ended yet. Team Rolled now at the disadvantage.
Very much the disadvantage. I have to give a shout out to Yuki here. Did a beautiful job of shutting down Quan, making sure he had very little, very little impact on the game, especially in the later stages. The Doomfist definitely seemed to be causing them problems, but Useless did a beautiful job of adjusting to that play style that Team Rolled was trying to go with there. Yuki shut down Quan probably like 5 times in those extra innings, and with that, Useless is on GitGud championship point here, Intel?
Well, honestly, we did say it was either going to be a bit of a roll or a kind of upfight for these teams, and it's definitely the upfight one. But we are going to go on to a bit of a pause. We need a moment to think about and see if Team Useless can finish this series out. So if you want to see that, make sure you tune back in. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you didn't miss us too much because we are here to cast the possible final match between Team Useless versus Team Rolled. I'm here joined by Mr. Dividing. How are you feeling right now? This may be the kind of end of a golden stage or just the end of the season entirely.
I'm feeling quite well, especially because, I mean, if you look up there, you see 2-0 in favor of Team Useless right now, but that doesn't necessarily tell the whole story here, especially on King's Row. We saw an absolute battle, a brawl on the streets of London, where both teams were fighting back and forth. Team Rolled came out strong with a Doomfist comp, but Useless were eventually able to adjust and just barely come out on top in the extra rounds. So this means now Useless is on championship point right now, and Team Rolled, if they want to get back into this, they've got to start right here, right now. Their backs are against the wall.
Team Useless, I think they're doing extremely well setting the pace. They are definitely understanding and adapting, which is what most teams kind of struggle with at times. Team Rolled stayed so hard on that Doomfist, which is 100% a struggle, and it's not always the best. But we're going to go on to an S-score map just next, and that's kind of the same thing as a hybrid, except you don't have to worry about ticks, but there is an impossible way to draw this. Well, it's possible, but who's really going to do it? So we're really going to have to see both of these teams do their best on Junkertown. Definitely a sniper map. We may see some good plays here.
Yeah, this is kind of new. We've seen both teams kind of fiddle with the Widow with the Ashe a little bit so far this match, but no one's super committed to it yet. I think CBT on the side of which team is CBT on? He's on Team Rolled, which actually makes a lot of sense. CBT seems to like playing Widow in places where Widow isn't necessarily optimal. Maybe just a Widow main at heart, trying to play it whenever he can. And now, here you go. Here's the chance. Junkertown is the kind of map where a really good Widowmaker can actually take over the entire game. So, I'm not super surprised that Team Rolled technically has Junkertown listed as their favorite escort map. And this is where they are going to take us, put their tournament lives on Junkertown here. So, very excited to see how this turns out.
I'm more than excited. Junkertown is such a very interesting map because I don't feel like it's really set to what the traditional meta runs. I always see Junkertown, everyone tries to avoid the meta. Never really works out too much unless it's dive. Then everyone runs meta.
Yeah, meta is not something we've seen very often so far today, Intel, so very interested to see what these teams are going to be jumping out on. Obviously, Junkertown, a bit strange when it comes to the meta, a little bit, we see things here where we don't see very many other places, but look at this, both teams currently showing pretty much the same, double shield, double sniper. The only real difference right now is going to be Tom on the Baptiste versus Cobra on the Zenyatta. I want to talk about the Zenyatta for a second, because Cobra can swap, but I'm just not 100% sure, because Yuki and North are going to be looking to try and one-shot people for the most part anyways, and then Cobra is obviously Azazen, the #1 target, just a slow-moving, easy-to-hit headbox for the snipers on the other side. So I'm not 100% sure on this pick, but hey, if you can get value from the Discord org, then all the power to you. Combo's just going to be powering up on the Mercy.
It helps them win the shield war attack. Oh my goodness, the bull combo actually helps get Yukino. And I was gonna say, the Discord at least helps them kind of in the shield war because that Orisa has to play more carefully, but the damage boost helps more consistent damage hit of the teams overall. So it's kind of a win-win situation. However, the Zenyatta is very much a risky pick. While we see Quan kind of taking the flank, North is going to be able to find out. CBT fan looks like they're winning the sniper duel in this, while Tactical is just taking those angles. The Sigma's doing a great job of just helping out the team. North is going to get pulled out and eventually back into the spawn room. As we see Yukino kind of get flanked on by a Baptiste, taking their time, looking for those shots, almost hits it. That would have been a little cool to see, as Tactical is looking for that Orisa Ice, looking for that combination. The Sigma not playing with their team, but they are on that off angle, looking for that pulse, gonna be trying to find a target, but the Baptiste is looking for Yukino. They're putting in that pressure in, Ice down dangerously low, looking for any form of healing. It's gonna get stunned and then immediately shot in the body, while we see Tactical just taking these long angles and long flanks. This is how you play double shield, but you're kind of relying on your DPS to get some picks. But CBT fan has all the angles in the world and doesn't have to worry about a single one, able to find out Yukino with a nice clean headshot, maybe looking for any type of flankers, but now has free reign over the wings of the map.
Beautiful play there from Team Rolled. CBT fan went down early a couple of times, but they played slow, they played for the angles, and eventually they were rewarded with a win. Now we see the tanks from Useless coming back in to try and keep Team Rolled from taking first point.
Yeah, now look at them. Yukino's watching out for the Widow, but is so scared to take sights, while CBT is perfectly fine and capable of peeking as much as they want. North is able to get out Tom. Yukino able to find out Quan. The Dragon is now built, and they're ready to pop it out when necessary, but that Orisa shield aren't going to help out too much. Yukino not really too worried. Now in the opposite position, trying to just style and get that pick, but CBT is just going to turn around, get a clean headshot, and then go back to the spawn room.
You know, your team lost the fight, but CBT won the Widow 1v1, so I mean, honestly, who's the real winner here? Useless does still have control of the point, and first tick was not captured for Team Rolled. A minute and 30 seconds on the clock. They are starting to get a little bit dire here, I would say, especially because they used several ultimates in that fight to try and take it across right there.
Yeah.
They will be working with the Tank ult and the Dragon Strike, though.
On the bright side, North forces out the immortality by using the dragons. However, to combine it, Quan just throws the dragons where they were sitting, manages to get both of the DPS. Now they can't play any sightline. Quan just has free reign to move inside them, uses the Storm Arrows to find out Ice. Tactical Apotheosis is not going to be able to live. That Zenyatta just has to retreat. Looks like they're going to be able to capture the first point with about a minute left, so at least that gives them room for this next push.
Yep, and Team Rolled are able to push across, but to the credit of Useless, they were able to drain most of the time off the clock, and look at this now. Team Rolled seems to have sort of overstayed their welcome, pushed through a little bit too far, and they're getting sent back to spawn.
The funny part about that push was they were just going after Cobra, but then Cobra survives for a bit, gets the immortality, and slowly everyone comes back. He was basically just the bait, and then Yukino's able to get CBT fence. Gonna force out the stall for a lot longer. And I'd have to say the Widow on attack is going to be a lot harder than it is on defense.
I want to say that's 3-2 in favor of Yukino, but nope, never mind. CBT fan's gonna even the score once again. 3-3 in this Widow 1v1 has been very even so far, and but on the ground it seems that Useless seems to have the advantage.
Team Rolled are at least on the high ground, so they don't have too much to worry about. Now sights are going to be seen. They're going to be they aren't going to be mirrored at all, but it looks like Isis Gravitic Flux with North's combination of just shooting into it are going to work very well, going to be forcing back the enemy team, and North seems to be wanting to go after CBT. Look how far he is inside the enemy's backline, and it's just going to get styled on!
I mean, what a beautiful shot from CBT, but I mean, while he was doing that, I mean, CBT was completely out of the fight for a while, and Useless won the 5v5 elsewhere, so great individual play from CBT, but as far as point progress, they haven't gotten very far yet.
Definitely agree. Look at that. Cobra and Yukino both getting a headshot. Tactical able to finish them out. They're at least putting so much pressure onto the enemy team, while CBT is so focused on finding Yukino or North that it's kind of causing them to not pick anyone else out. Look at that. We see Quan just trying to find someone, but is forcing the play far away. We're gonna have to see, because they're building up the dragons, but looks like they're just gonna have to wait a bit longer as they're just getting staggered.
Yeah, and now we are starting to get once again to a bit of a desperate situation right now. Useless continue to find picks on Team Rolled pretty constantly. They can't really come up with a 6-man fight that they want to, and now we're narrowing down on a minute left on the clock. Team Rolled is coming up on several ultimates now. CBT fan moves over to the McCree to try and get a fight where he's more with the rest of his team, but he's gonna have to wait a little while before he can do that because, I mean, they can't even get into the point before they get picked off. This high ground hold from Team Useless has been formidable. They can't get past it.
My goodness, Yukino is able to find CBT. The Kree gives that more consistent damage, but they don't care. They're taking these fights early. They're setting the pace. North used those dragons, but now Ice has her Gravitic Flux. They managed to res CBT. They're going on the high ground because they know they don't have anything to worry about, while Quan has the dragons. They could just shoot it out, isolate targets. Now Quan, it's up to them to win. Popping those dragons out. Uber's dangerously low. Gonna be saved by the immortality, while Cobra has the Transcendence. They're using that Gravitic Flux, looking to pop it out, but everyone's mysteriously retreated. North finds CBT. The Rock gonna be able to stop Ice from doing anything. Now we see them taking in their angles. That Orisa's playing close, but they're gonna be closer to spawn as Hypothesis is able to hit combo CBT.
Oh, they're not on!
Oh no! Nobody touches! I was gonna say CBT switches over to the Tracer to try to get back, but they weren't even able to touch. Everyone was stuck inside the high ground and in an unfavorable position. They either died or, you know, just couldn't do anything. Now we have to expect a full hold, or what I would have to say, the impossible hold.
Oh my goodness, now Useless is in such a good situation, Intel. Team Rolled were able to take first point just barely, and then were completely stopped after that. By the time the fight was over, the cart was all the way back to the Junkertown gates again. And so, it basically comes down to this. I mean, Team Rolled has to full hold Useless here in order to win this map and stay alive. If they can't, the cart is so close to the start of the point that I can't imagine. It's going to be just so difficult for Team Rolled to be able to hold them there for so long when there's just so little wiggle room there.
My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, if not, Useless currently on the verge of becoming your GitGud champions. This attack could be the end of the season.
This is going to be a very uphill battle because we have to remember where that payload ended. It didn't go anywhere. It stayed right where they capped it. So, Useless have such a good condition. It's either you get full held or you basically go with the dividing by zero hold, which is basically an impossible one because you can't divide by zero.
Fair enough, I guess. Interesting though, CBT fan is going to come out on the Soldier to start off with. We saw this before, I think. No, never mind. No, that was last game. But the Soldier is a very interesting sort of mid-range pick here, trying to go for a little more consistent tickle damage instead of the headshots. And, well, combo gets caught out early by Ice, so that it seems like the constant pressure of that Soldier is doing some work here.
It's doing a bit. North is able to get found out, and CBT is going to be able to get back fast while being able to shoot people. But I don't like how Yukino is basically going to be uncontested. Look at that far range, being able to put in consistent damage. Tactical looking for those pulls. However, they are able to be saved. North going to be switching over to the Tracer, looking to be flanking onto those players. We see Yukino just freely looking around, is able to take that space, just 1v1ing and gonna be able to hit a headshot onto Quan, but now there's nobody. Sure, Soldier at 76 is gonna be able to shoot, but look at that, he's gonna be able to pick out by Tactical and just start slowly moving forward. North's gonna be looking to melt off, but Tactical's gonna steal that kill while everyone else is in this small house. Tactical has to has to shield too. Look, gonna be body blocking, has to use the gold just to try to stop, but they aren't gonna be able to stop this push. It looks like Useless. I think this may be the end of it.
What is the Soldier actually doing here, Intel? I just don't understand the pick. Is this tilt? Is this CBT fan essentially giving the championship over? I just don't understand why you would run a Soldier in this situation. Now Quan swaps onto the Doomfist to try and get back to the point. I mean, look at this, they're so close. I don't know if anyone's even gonna be able to touch in time.
No, they have the ball set up, and they might be able to, but they're prepared. They know the rock comes out. They are going to be able to almost slam, but they're so low, it doesn't matter. The window gets used. They need someone to stay on this point. The ball's gone. Soldier's not going to be able to stand. The Zenyatta's missing. The Sigma's the last one there, but immediately going to be melting. The Doomfist slams up. It's going to miss that shot. Everyone, give your love and hopes, because Useless, the most useful team, winning the championship.
Yeah, Team Useless very much came up in the end to be the opposite of their name. Team Rolled in the end. Their name seems to be pretty
Accurate.
pretty accurate as well. This map was all useless all the time. They were in complete control, and in what was honestly one of the faster maps I've casted here, Intel, Useless takes the championship. Beautiful play from them.
I have to agree. It was a lot in favor of those DPS. They had control of it the whole time, especially when we went to second point. It's much easier to play Widow in defense because you know where that Widow's going to be peeking from. So that McCree switch was so late, it unfortunately cost them a bit, but either way, it was kind of a team difference at times. They just weren't as focused. They just weren't as cool. And then that Soldier 76, I think we all have to admit, it's a questionable pick at times. But Mr. Dividing, do you have any lasting comments? Because I don't think there's going to be any more matches.
Yeah, that is going to do it here for us, Intel. I had a ton of fun casting with you today. Congratulations to Team Useless for their victory. You should go home happy, able to finish the Golden Playoffs run. 12-0 total in maps, not a single map lost. Honestly, some beautiful play we saw from them today. And honestly, Team Rolled got to this point for a reason. They're very much a talented team in their own right. And I hope to see them back for next season.
I really hope so too. I had a blast casting, and if you want to see more, well, hit that heart because we are having GGNA later tonight for their own championship. I wanted to trick you, give you a false sense of security, but bring it back in. Either way, if you enjoyed this casting, you can check us out on our Twitters, which you can see on the screen. Hit that heart if you enjoyed. You'll be able to follow, get notifications, and stay up to date with Elo Hell. Otherwise, my name is username_Intel. That's dividing by 0, and we thank you so much for tuning in for this match.
Bye.